Welcome to the Geek Easy. Sit back, grab a libation of your choice, and relax, 'cause it's time to do some geek stuff in the Geek Easy. Welcome to the Geek Easy, fellow geeks. Grab a beverage of your choice, because today we are going to be doing a little comparison. I'm sure you have all heard of the story behind the Snyder cut of the Justice League. In case you haven't, Snyder was shooting the Justice League. He had a family emergency. His daughter took her life, and he had to step away to take care of family problems. That's understandable. I mean, who wouldn't? But the movie still needed to get done. So the DC executives, in all their wisdom, brought in Josh Whedon, of all people, to finish the movie. Therein lies the problem. These are two distinctly different types of directors. Zack Snyder, he is the dark, type of direction. He really great visuals and all that, but he had a specific storyline in mind. While Josh Whedon has the old, the brighter palette and the more comedic issues, as you can see, sort of like in the first Avengers movie. And so what he did was scrapped a lot of what Snyder did and reshot some of the movie. And they cut it down, to a reasonable length. And so, most of the characters in this movie, who had, in the Snyder cut, had story arcs, had, everything going, were cut down to just either bit parts or nothing. And he added this whole family thing in the nuclear area, and then the little Flash pushing the car at the end, a type of situation. And the special effects were awful. And we got stuck with the Superman mustache deal, which everybody, I'm sort of like the shirt here, rightfully made fun of. So, after a while, there's a big call, hashtag release the Snyder cut. Release the Snyder cut. So people could see what he originally had in mind. And it was so much better. So you have the theatrical release, which, and then they finally did release the Snyder cut. It's a lot longer, but so much better. Incredible difference in movies. Now, why do I bring this up? The release the Snyder cut is, to quote the famous quote, "Deja vu all over again." Why do I say that? This happened with a DC movie before. And it is a DC movie that also involved Superman, of all people. Let me explain. A lot of you may know about this, some of you don't. Back in the 1970s, they were shooting Superman, motion picture, Christopher Reeve. Great movies. Salkind's had the rights. They had Mario Puzo write the screenplay. He's the guy who wrote the Godfather books and helped with the movies. He wrote the screenplay. And so he wrote the script, and there was going to be Superman the Motion Picture and Superman 2. Now, they hired Richard Donner, who was not as well known as he is now back then, to helm the movie, and they were going to shoot them together. And Salkind's were kind of stringent with their money. They didn't give him a huge budget. And he began to, the budget began to go up as what happened. And this led to problems on the set between him and the Salkinds. The actors loved him. And tensions rose. And what they did is they eventually just said, you know what? Fuck it. You step away. And so the release date for Superman the Motion Picture was getting close. So they cut that movie together, put the ending, which was meant for the end of Superman 2, at the end of Superman 1, released the movie, and then started working on Superman 2. They had a lot of the movie shot already, but they needed to finish it. And what they did was they brought in, he was just like, they replaced Richard Donner. They said, don't need you anymore. We're going to get this guy named Richard Lester and have him direct the movie. The rest of the movie. And he, like, what is his name? Anyway, was also a guy who liked having, he did more comedy, he had more a different view of things, so they had to reshoot some of the movie, and they added scenes in to make it a little bit more funny. They redid the beginning, and a lot of the people were pissed. A lot of the actors were really mad because they loved Richard Donner. Now, after a while, people were, saying, "Hey, wait a minute." They wanted to see what the Donner cut really looked like. And after a while, I think in the 2000s, they found a lot of the footage, and people put together some money and came up with what was referred to as the Donner cut. What they did was they used existing scenes. They used what is it called? Audition stuff, whatever they could find, and combined this movie together to give the vision of what Richard Donner wanted. It is so much better of a movie. Now, if you remember at the end of Superman motion picture, they've got Superman was going after the missiles. He shoots one up into space, and then didn't get to the other one. All that, and then Lois Lane dies, and he goes around the world to turn back time. And then at the beginning of Superman 2, there's some French people who also managed to get a hold of some nuclear bombs. They want to blow up the Eiffel Tower. They somehow managed to get, it's like nuclear weapons in this world are just easy to get a hold of, I guess. And then Superman gets it, shoots it up into space. In this one, that is how the three people from the Phantom Zone are released from the Phantom Zone. In the original movie, in Superman 2, the one that went up into space, that is the one that released them. So they were released at the end of Superman motion picture. And then that, Eiffel Tower scene never existed. So that's one big difference, is they're already free at the beginning of Superman 2. I forget exactly how they explained how Lois is still alive. Maybe he still did the world again, but in this one, she actually figures out that Superman, the Clark Kent, the Superman, by saying that she's going to shoot him and all that. So it's and they take out a lot of the funny shit that Richard Lester put in there, and the extra scenes where they're adding these powers that somehow these guys had that Superman didn't have. Like there's a scene in that little town when they first land where Ursa does this, and there's this beam that comes out of her hand and she raises that guy up in the air. See, it doesn't happen. Doesn't happen because Superman doesn't have that power, and that was also meant for comedic effect. So they took that was out. There's some scenes at the end during the battle where when all three of them are doing that, and you're seeing guys struggling, their toupees are falling off because that's meant to be funny. That's out. And then the two most flagrant things that they put in that movie, the Richard Lester one, was the little cellophane S thing where everyone's going, what the fuck was that? That wasn't in the movie. I'm so glad they took that out. And then they also took out the amnesia kiss, which was insulting to everybody and actually had him do the world again. So this was a not much, but this was a better movie, and it was tighter. It was it made the movie better because they cut out all the stupid comedic shit that was in there that wasn't supposed to be in there, and just boom, so well done. And that was Donner's vision come true. So which version is better, in my opinion? Of course, the Donner cut. And then that's also the same thing with the Snyder cut. The Snyder cut is better. But I just wanted to bring this up because things seem to repeat themselves in history. This was The Snyder Cut thing was deja vu all over again. And I just wanted to let people know about it in case they didn't know. So let me know in the comments below which version, if you knew about the Donner Cut situation, and if you did, which version do you like better, the theatrical release or the Donner Cut? And you might as well just tell me for the Justice League as well, the theatrical release or the Snyder Cut. Anyway, like, subscribe, and most of all, enjoy your comic book movies.